You're trying to find a pallet truck that won't break down after a few weeks, that slides over concrete and epoxy floors without making a ruckus, and that actually just does the job without demanding a graduate-level manual. The hesitation you feel right now is real. Spending a few $100s on a piece of equipment that you'll use every shift can feel like a gamble, especially when the market is flooded with models that tout huge load numbers but leave you wondering how they'll handle a busy warehouse, a cramped shop, or a small delivery bay. That's why I'm going to walk through what matters day to day, not just what's printed on the spec sheet, and help you decide whether the Wesco Industrial Economizer pallet truck is worth putting in your cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the environment where you'll actually be using a truck like this. Most small to mid-size businesses have a mix of concrete floors, some rubberized dock mats, and occasional sections of worn-out paint that can be a bit unforgiving on wheels. The Wesco model comes with polyurethane wheels, which, in plain language, means they're softer than the steel-capped alternatives you see on cheaper trucks. That softness translates into less vibration when you roll a fully loaded pallet across a rough surface, and it also reduces the chance of gouging the floor, something a lot of shop owners complain about when they upgrade from a steel wheel cart. In my experience, a pallet truck that's gentle on the floor also tends to be gentler on the operator's wrists because the wheels absorb a bit of the shock. Load capacity is the headline that grabs most people's attention, and Wesco's 4,400 pound rating is certainly impressive. But what that number really means in practice is that you can comfortably lift a standard 48 by 40 inch pallet loaded with about 1,200 pounds of product, raise it to a comfortable height, and then maneuver it onto a rack or through a door without having to worry about the forks flexing. The truck's service range of 2.9 to 7.5 inches is a sweet spot for most warehouse shelving. You can get a pallet up to the shelf level with a single lift, and the handle length gives you enough leverage without feeling like you're trying to swing a baseball bat. For anyone who's ever tried to lift a pallet with a lower capacity truck and felt that the forks start to bow, this is a noticeable improvement. Now, let's get into the practical strengths that become evident after the first few uses. The steel frame is welded, not bolted, which means it holds up well against the daily abuse of being dropped, bumped, or dragged across uneven surfaces. The polyurethane wheels, aside from being floor-friendly, also have a natural resistance to punctures and small debris. I've seen a truck with solid rubber wheels get a nail stuck in the tread, but the softer polymer here tends to flex around it, keeping you moving. Another everyday win is the fork width. At 27 inches, the forks are wide enough to cradle a full-size pallet without the edges hanging off, yet they're not so massive that you can't fit them through standard R widths. This balance is something I've heard operators grumble about with oversized trucks that force you to redesign your layout. On the flip side, there are a couple of hidden trade-offs that only become clear after you've used the truck a few days. Because the wheels are softer, they can wear faster on rough, abrasive concrete if you're consistently moving heavy loads over the same spot. That isn't a deal-breaker, but it does mean you should keep an eye on tread wear and be ready to replace the wheels after a year or so in a high-traffic environment. Another nuance is the height adjustment mechanism. The lever that changes the fork height is sturdy, but it requires a firm pull to lock into place. If you're used to a click-type lever that snaps with a light touch, you'll need a moment to get the muscle memory right. In a fast-paced setting where you're constantly raising and lowering pallets, that extra effort can feel like a small inconvenience. Who should buy this truck? If you run a small distribution center, a workshop that handles pallets of parts, or a retail backroom that needs to move moderately heavy loads a few times a day, the Wesco Economizer fits nicely. It offers a solid mix of capacity and floor friendliness that makes it a practical upgrade from the budget range trucks that often come with steel wheels and lower weight limits. It's also a good fit for owners who value durability over flash. The all-steel construction means you won't be dealing with rust-prone coatings, and the wheels give you a quieter ride, which can be a plus in environments where noise levels matter. Who should skip it? If you run a high-volume fulfillment center where you're moving dozens of pallets per hour, a truck with a quick-release height adjustment and a higher speed will design might serve you better. Likewise,